Well, wait. All right, there it is. So, Chad, I've talked to many people about this, but I don't think that I've actually had the recording on. Normally, it's done while people are in Thailand. But since you brought it up, um, let us start off by saying that Thailand itself is a matriarchal society. Now, it's matriarchal. There are many different layers of matriarchy or patriarchy. In the West, every layer is patriarchal. But in Thailand, the level of the family and the family systems and the family structures are matriarchal. And it looks like that it's intentionally so. Because I have seen now a sutta where the Buddha is recommending that the layman, like yourself, would hand all authority and control over the house and household matters and all such things. Give the wife the authority. Let her be the matron that she is destined to be, whether she has to beat you half to death for it or not. Give in. Let her rule the world. That makes your life a whole lot easier, a whole lot less to do. Stop trying to get your way, and that's why the old Thai men are so marvelous, is because they've all given up control of their family.
I like this idea. The secret to sort of practice as a lay person, instead of dealing with the challenge of trying to sort of wrestle 50-50 control with the partner, you just give up completely, and then you just kind of let things be as they may.
Yeah.
What happens when you get called lazy? Just let it, take a deep breath and let it roll off your back?
No, you do what you're told to do.
Okay.
And do it joyfully and teasingly and happily.
All right.
And one of the ways of joyfully doing it, oh, I'm so old, I'm an old man. Are you sure you want me to do that? But I don't think you can get away with that the way I can.
I'm going to try that. Thank you, Dhammarato, as always. Since we last spoke, it was interesting. I've been working on cultivating awareness of the long breath in and out to sort of cultivate joy in every moment that I can remember. I have been keeping up my sporadic sitting schedule, sitting when I can. It was interesting though.
Don't sit when you can, sit when you like.
Okay. Anytime I can, I kind of like to do it. Gosh, it feels great when I can actually just sit down for a second and just pay attention to my breath. It's such a precious luxury that anytime I have that opportunity, I'm joyful and happy to do so.
Well, now that's correct practice. You keep doing that.
Okay.
Do it more often. Now that the wife has all of the authority, that'll give you far more time to sit there and just chuckle watching her do whatever she wants.
After we last spoke, though, it was interesting because I think, as I mentioned in our first call, I was trained with the classic Mahasi style noting in the Western tradition. You go through the progress of insight. You have some fruition.
Well, that's what I
go
teach.
through cycles, et cetera, et cetera. Well, here's what I wanted to tell you, which was just interesting to me. After we spoke, I have fruition sessions that sort of sporadically happen. A lot of times, like, it'll be when I'm like laying down to go to sleep at night, or sometimes I'll wake up and sort of have one. Usually they happen at least once every couple of weeks or so. But after our first conversation, when I went to sleep that night, I was going in and out of fruition / secession. I must have dipped in and out about 7 or 8 times over the course of the night, which I just thought it was interesting. It's always very pleasant, so I was enjoying it. Things kept going offline and back online and offline and back online or whatever. You get a nice little feeling of bliss. It was, I mean, I didn't, you know, as I have, these things kind of just come and go, as all things. But I was like, that's really interesting. I haven't had one of these experiences in like a couple of years since I've had like just had a night where I was just like popping in and out of like succession. So I don't know. It was just interesting. I don't know why that would be.
Go ahead.
No, I was just curious if you had any thoughts. Not that it's really, I don't think particularly, it doesn't really impact me in any major way, but I just thought it was kind of like fascinating. So I was curious to hear your thoughts kind of on that.
Okay. Well, now since we're sort of kind of all over the place in the sense of how to practice in daily life for the Westerner, let's look at it from the quality of the four postures: sitting, standing, walking, and lying down. And now let's look at that lying down posture, because that's just another opportunity to practice. And most in the West, most of the people have the idea that they lay down to sleep because they got work to do tomorrow. They're going to be busy. I got to go to sleep. I got to go to sleep. I know I got to go to sleep because I've got this, that, and the other thing, and I've got this, that, and the other thing, and I got this, that, and the other thing, and I got this, that, and the other thing, and this, that, and the other thing, and this is my night. I'm thinking about how badly I need to go to sleep so I can get tomorrow done, this, that, and the other thing, this, that, and the other thing, this, that, and the other thing. And this is what the Americans call sleep, and they need a pill to help. I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I remember those days. These days I enjoy laying down and I just go straight to meditating, whether it's breathing or noting, and I just do that until I go to sleep and then I wake up and it's just kind of done. Right. It doesn't make any difference.
There is a really beautiful way of thinking about that. And that is as now I lay me down to sleep, I don't have to really sleep. I can just lay here and enjoy the night. I've got no place to go for the next 8 hours, nothing to do. I can just lay here and just enjoy, I'm even laying down. It's so comfortable. It's so cozy. Yeah. I just... And so you're already starting to do that. So go for the full-on practice. Go for the absolute top level night that you can have. Oh, this is so nice. Instead of take all the pressure off. There's no pressure now.
Yeah,
finally,
I do. I fall asleep within like 30 seconds. That's the problem.
Well, that's the whole point. And not only that, not only do we get so relaxed and we go to sleep, but the sleep that we go into is a higher quality sleep that was started with fits and starts and dreaming and whatnot. The dreaming is nothing more than the continued blabber of the mind as we go to sleep. It's still, there's a part of the mind.
Uh-oh. Froze on me.
The mammalian part of the brain. So the mammalian part of the brain is what the Buddha talks about in the sense of the verbal. It's where we get our language and where we get our culture from. But if you recognize it, we got our language and our culture from the dogs and from the birds and the bees and the monkeys, not the bees, not even the birds, but the monkeys most specifically. But we got it from the mammalian part of the brain. That language, you see, crocodiles, they don't have much to say to each other.
Yeah.
But mammals have a whole lot to say to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's where all of that talking part of the brain comes from, and that the humans have just got a very, very better high version, higher quality, which means we have a larger vocabulary, and we have also, but we don't have the off switch generally. So they're just go. And in a way, what we're practicing with meditation is to take us out of the thinking mind and putting us into the rest of the mind, the observing mind and the feeling mind. And working with Vedana, but we're going to feel the way that we want to feel rather than the way that we used to feel or that we're used to feeling. And this is an important quality, to have that Vedana. Did I talk to you about rapture and piti last time when we talked?
No.
All right, so here it comes. Blather coming right out. What is Buddha Barber? That the part of the joy that is manufactured through the gladdening of the mind of step 10 is like the spark that lights the fuse of the explosion of Vedana, or the feeling of the wind, the sparkle, the fireworks of life. So rapture or piti, the word rapture is really not a really good word, but I cannot think of a good word in English that talks about this, and yet we've got such a rich vocabulary. But the closest quality to it is the quality of winning, of being a champion, of having top quality, of this is the very best. And this is what piti is all about. It's about training the mind and developing this high quality success, to be successful, to be, aha, I got it. Now, when I say, aha, I've got it, the I is not so important. Now, in the typical world, the world, sensual world, I've got it is the right, or that's the thing that people say. It's the win. It's the champion. It's when the guy runs across the 50-yard or the 100-yard dash and he's got his chest puffed out because he knows he's won the race. It's when the real estate agent gets both signatures on the contract. She snatches that contract up. I'm the winner. I've got it. Sometimes that'll even happen in front of the vice president of the bank. That the client's in there and finally signs that signature, and the vice president, grab that contract, I've got it now. That's the win, and that's what we are all kind of looking for. That's the top of light. Sometimes in meditation, when it occurs because the factors are together, that people will misunderstand or misconstrue this to be some sort of event that marks a spiritual place. The Christians, for instance, could say, I'm in the presence of God. No, you're not. You just feel good.
What's the difference?
Well, the difference is that you've always been in the presence of God. You just feel good about it now.
We found him. He was hiding, but there he is, finally.
Yeah, here he is. I mean, he's always been here. The Buddhists call it Dhamma. The big isness, the big environment, that which contacts us on a constant level. The idiopapajayata is also a Buddhist word, and it also means the cause-effect relationship down at the molecular level that causes us to be not in the universe, but part of the universe. That sitting in this chair, I become part of the chair, and the chair becomes part of the butt. And it goes right through the fabric, and so the fabric is both chair and butt, and we're just all interconnected that way at such a marvelous level. But we don't actually come to the enjoyment of that. That is recommended for Christians to feel, and none of the Christians feel that way. They don't feel that way. They don't have that, I've got it. That feeling of quality success. I'm really there now. And this is rapture that needs to be developed. It's a skill for us to be developed. You know it can happen occasionally by accident. And normally when it happens by accident, the people are so stupid they don't even know what it is. It's just nothing but feeling really, really good. So give that self to yourself. That win, that satisfaction. In fact, the success then melts kind of into a satisfaction. So now we're talking about anapanasati actually at step 5 is the rapture. The sukha then is the next level that is like the relaxation or the rest point that we come to after that realization of the win.
Mm-hmm.
This is when the athlete will go down on one knee. This is actually associated also with the out breath of the relaxation. So that rapture comes with the in breath. I've got it! And then, all right, so this is the quality that we're actually going to train for, and that it will get really, really strong as you enter second jhana. But we're wanting to use it at this quality that can be done so that we're gathering the jhana factors together. So we really have to have this quality of win, the quality of success, the quality of I can do this. This is what also the Pali word is shraddha. And shraddha does not mean faith, it means confidence. All right, if you start winning 100-yard race after another, or if you start winning one boxing champion after another, you can truly walk around saying, I'm the king. That quality is there because of the self-confidence that's been gained through the proving over and over and over again of this success. So it builds the quality of the championship attitude. This is the attitude to be developed. The attitude of a Buddha, the attitude of a noble, the attitude of the very best there is. The lion. So this is a quality that's to be developed. Now, when people who have developed these qualities work together or are associated with each other, they become the very best of friends because we don't compete with each other. There's nothing to compete for or over because each one of us has already got all we need. We're already completely satisfied. That's the state to come to. That's the state of training of the mind, to be at a high quality state. And the secret to it, number one, is to remember to do it. and secret number two, do it with real intensity. An example of that would be the way that drums, especially when they're out marching or whatever like that one of the qualities of the drummers is that they do it intensely. Drumming is an intense activity. I like the drumming because I've got several students, by the way, that are professional drummers. So this is the way that meditators would think that they practice meditation would be. This is the way that they think that you would play a drum. Here's the drum head. This is the mallet. Is that the way to play a drum?
No.
No, no. Is this the way to play a drum? This is the way that you play. This is the way you also do meditation. Do it with intensity. Strike it. Okay, what are you going to strike? You're going to strike that drum head of success. I've got it. I've got it. To build up that quality of satisfaction, to build up that quality of success requires some intensity because the old habits are strong. And the old habits start to remain as a slave, as a victim, as someone who is not fully in control of their life. But that drummer is this is the way that we want to start living our life, with joy, with gusto, with happiness, with sukha. that's built upon this rapture of success that we have. And the success is a really, really high quality, first class success. Why? Because you're capable, as only very few people are, of actually cleaning out your mind and getting rid of the crap. And very few people are capable of doing that. So it is a very high, lofty goal. And so every time that you're capable of doing that, you should give yourself a great congratulations and full of joy. And think of me more as a cheerleader than a coach.
Got it.
That's the way to look at it, okay? That you are the champion. You are the lion. You are the Buddha. And that is a quality that is to be developed. It's not just going to, because you've been sitting on some dumb floor for some dumb number of hours, it's going to be granted by some dumb magical person out of the dumb sky. It's just not going to be given to you that way. You've got to develop this stuff. And in fact, if you're developing so properly, you're taking care of the right business, you can give all the other business to your wife.
So this is helpful, and I look forward to putting it into practice. I guess my the last sort of issue I wanted to make sure I raised with you is the first issue I raised with you when we spoke last time, is that anger is my constant companion. I seem cheerful, right? I'm pretty happy because I settle down very quickly. I blow up and then I'm just kind of like, oh, gosh, I shouldn't have done that. But I really would love to be able to reach a point where I don't just explode. I get mad and then I get upset with my partner or my kid or our dogs. I just have a temper.
You get angry at the dog?
Oh, yeah.
You heartless piece of shit.
Bark, 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 be quiet. Bark, 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 shut up. Bark, 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 bark. I lose it. And then I lose it.
But you're barking at the dog. What do you expect the dog to do to you? Is the dog barking at you, or what is the dog barking about?
Lord, if I knew the answer to that question, I would be the king of the world.
Look at where his face is pointed and you'll get an idea.
I think she's barking at ghosts. She hears things and then she gets nervous. She's anxious. They're both anxious. Right. So it's hard to.
And if she was on your lap being comforted, she probably wouldn't be barking so much. Well, if you change your relationship with the dog will stop barking so much. The dogs bark here, but they bark at things that are out in the yard, and I want them to do that.
Well, I can definitely work on my relationship with Dakota, my fiance's dog.
No,
but
it's not your fiance. No. Think of it this: is you belong to the dog, and you're the dog's friend. Look at it from the perspective of the dog. As they would say in Zen, be the dog. All right. So look at your relationship with the dog from the dog's point of view, that is going in the direction of the dog owns you.
Okay.
Just like if you buy a house, you don't own the house owns you. You are the one to be responsible for fixing the clogged toilet. You're the one to be responsible for changing the light bulbs. You're the one who has to take care of that house. The house does not belong to you. You belong to the house, and it's your job to take care of it. It's your job to take care of the dog because the dog owns you.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's the right perspective.
That is just the right perspective to have. It's a noble perspective. It's part of right view.
Mm-hmm.
And that if you feel more secure If you feel more secure and content around the dog will feel more secure and less barking around you. That's just the nature of things.
Right. Well, this is the easy one.
When the dog is... Yes, when the dog is afraid, instead of barking, they should all come to you. How many dogs do you have?
2.
Is it a mine and her situation?
Yeah.
No, it's not. Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Things are changing. I need you watch the same part, including the fact that now the dogs own you.
Yeah.
And it's your job to nurture them and care for them and be their best daddy. You're the alpha male in the house, and everybody knows it but you.
Mm. So, dogs, check. Partner, check.
Check.
What's your advice on dealing with the kid so I can avoid blowing up on my sweet 5-year-old who's a wonderful child and is extremely well behaved, but at times he's excellent at getting under my skin?
The first thing is to be absolutely determined from this point on that you will not show that child your anger. That you're going to deal with that stuff on the inside. You do not need to add to that child's trauma by giving him yours. You traumatize yourself and keep it to yourself. Stop traumatizing your kid.
Well, can I tell you one thing that I did teach him, which has been helpful? I said, Bear, I love you. I have a bit of a temper, right? And you know that I love you. One thing you can do to help me is if you notice that I'm starting to get mad, and you're really good at noticing I'm getting mad, just tell me. Remember the Buddha.
He knows. He does it intentionally.
Just say, remember the Buddha, and that'll help me. And so now sometimes when I get angry, my 5-year-old will say, Dad, remember the Buddha.
And when you can chase him around the room in great joy, saying, thank you, then you do. But you also need to start telling yourself that.
Right.
That in fact, whether you use that word or not, the whole quality is to remember. This is sati. To remember. Wake up, wakey. So the first thing that we're going to say is, under no circumstances are you going to show your child anger, even though he already knows that it's there because he brought it up intentionally for you. He's good at it. He knows where your buttons are. And you're going to start challenging him there. In the sense of, well, I'm the big daddy in this house and you cannot make me angry. Ha ha, you're just a 5-year-old squirt. You cannot. You do not have control over me. Because that's just a small change of attitude. That's all it is, just a change of attitude on your part. I will not show that little brat my anger. And when you're angry, that's what you probably call him, or worse.
Yeah, he can do it. Dakota, the other dog, can do it. My partner is really good at it. She's excellent at getting the anger out of me.
Well, there you go, with all them buttons exposed for everybody to play on. I mean, you're like a piano. And they love to walk across your keys, pushing every button.
Yeah, fair enough.
So this is a point of mindfulness now. You can just be that tough dude. I'm not going to let them see that anger anymore. I'm going to keep that to myself.
Mm-hmm. It does somehow feel very good to let it out, though, at times.
Yes, it does. That's the whole point of it. But it is dangerous. It's harmful. I mean, yeah, people do like fireworks, but sometimes things blow up in our face.
Yeah, that's That's the challenge. It reached that sort of critical threshold point of no return. I'm extremely mindful. I can actually kind of see it coming up. It's like I'm just like watching it, and I'm just like, yeah,
Yeah, but
it's
why
just
aren't
too
you
much pain.
breathing deep? Right, when you see it coming, that's when you should start deep breathing right then. I see you, Mr. Ringer, coming. I see you 5 seconds away. I see you 4 seconds away. I see you slowing down. You're not getting here. You're frozen in ice now. You didn't make it. I'm not angry. Ha, ha, ha. All right, so you can see it coming. Don't let it in. Don't allow that up. Basically, what we're talking about is a point in Paticca Samuppada, where basically what is coming up is the feeling of I don't like it. And the feeling of I don't like it means now with ignorance mixed in, we're saying, therefore, I've got to do something about it. Because that's the only way I know how to deal with my feelings. Is to do something about the feelings rather than work with them directly. But now we're changing our position from I don't like it, I've got to fix the problem, I demand that this problem be fixed. That's when the anger is there. But so is the suffering, and so is the full-blown ignorance. But if you can catch it at the point of I don't like it, now you have it because it's a small manipulable item. You can do it in the sense of, aha, I see that I don't like that. And I'm going to deal with it right now before it grows into full-blown anger.
All right.
That in a way, almost always, your kid pushes your buttons, but he's been pushing your buttons for so long that he knows now the right sequence of how to push your buttons. So that he could really open that jack in the box.
Yeah.
All right. So as he's beginning to push these buttons, you can begin to watch him push those buttons and say, I see that. I see you pushing my button.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Yeah. We have, it's funny you say that. Yeah, of course. In my moments of wisdom, he loves it too. When I say, Bear, I know exactly what you're doing. I was a kid once too, and I knew how to piss off my parents, and I used to do stuff just like that. And then he starts laughing. Thinks it's hilarious. Call him out on his crocodile tears.
Here I am in Thailand, and I figured that out, and you're right there in front of him, and it's hard for you to see.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. Some days are clearer than others. Some days are easier than others.
All right. So now the first thing that we're going to have in this regard is that really strong determination that you're not going to show that anger to the kid.
You want to go on a walk? Let's go. Come on, Coco.
Is she talking to you?
No, she's getting Coco to go for a walk. She's taking the dogs out.
Oh, is that 5-year-old taking the dogs out? Is that what? I didn't understand.
My future wife is taking the dogs out briefly. No, the 5-year-old, I have him half time. He's with his mom right now.
Oh, I see. Okay, so that was her talking, saying that she's taking the dogs out. Is that
right?
What
yeah, she was calling.
Okay.
She was calling Coco. Coco was in my lap, peacefully resting.
Okay. Well, we've got several different avenues for Sati to remember to watch those feelings, because you know that kid's going to be pushing your buttons. He loves it. And when you start loving it too, then you'll have a really excellent relationship with him.
All right. Setting an intention right now of strong determination that I will not get angry ever again. And can't wait to talk to you again.
Him. Let's just get started. Let's just make it easy. Yeah, okay. Let's make it easy. Just at him. Just at him. There's going to be other things that you might not be able to control against him.
I figured I'd set the intention and just it's not going to work, but I'll just forgive myself and keep setting it over and over again. The second I get angry, okay.
No, this is not about forgiveness. This is about strong intention. When you catch yourself, however how deep you're into it, you shut up then.
Right. Got it.
Even if it's this stage, when you got your hand in the air about to smack the tar out of him, you say, "Oh, I see that. You see what I'm doing?
Yeah.
I'm about to slug the piss out of you, kid, and I don't think I want to do that."
Oh, no. Not with that little guy. We've never got close to that.
You'd be surprised how many times your arm has gone into the air.
Got it. Okay. Well, reminds me, it's I remember many years ago I read a book by Westerner who studied Zen named Robert Aitken called Zen Master Raven, and he has these little anecdotes of animals. And so one of the animals is asking Bear what to do with his anger, and asking Raven, who's the Zen Master. Bear is asking Raven, "What do I do with my anger?" And Raven says, "Well, just check it out after." And he's like, "Well, how's that going to do me any good?" And he's like, "Well, it could have become Big Bear's anger." So, yeah.
Oh, I get it. Right. That if you're angry at Big Bear, guess where the anger goes next?
Yeah. 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 I think exactly. It's like, mindfulness, see it, stop it, because you don't want to see what happens if you continue. Could be way worse. So
exactly.
don't beat yourself up on it. When you see it, stop it, and then just realize that it could be worse. Like,
So that's in fact the championship of seeing the suffering before it happened and able to get out of the way of it. This is an important quality of why this practice of Anapanasati is not the same thing as choiceless awareness. I think that's such a hilarious term. It's like standing in the road and seeing a Mack truck come, and I see it coming, and I see it coming, and then it runs me down. What good was my seeing of that truck if I didn't bother to get out of its way? So much for choiceless awareness. Let's have some choiceful awareness.
Well, I've had some conversations recently, discussions online with some, extremely the sort of non-dual traditions who practice a form of choiceless awareness. And it's really not a big deal, you see, because there was no person who was actually in front of the truck. There was no person to be hit by the truck. There's no self there. So it's okay. Yeah. They'll just allow themselves.
That's a really callous way to do it. And is that what the guy's going to say when he's mopping up the blood and the splatter off the ground?
Yeah, that was my question. So your philosophy seems a little bit flawed.
Well, we are going for non-duality. And the non-duality has the way of doing things so that things don't get splattered all over the place. I mean, his non-duality winds up with quite a splatter. Body parts flying off in all directions. Let's have a different kind of unity, please.
Yeah. All right. Well, I better. I'm sure that there's some chores or tasks that I should go and accept dutifully to be assigned to soon.
Exactly. See what the boss wants. Yes, ma'am. And not only that, but you can start eventually within the next several days of complimenting her on being such an excellent boss. Start to tease her about it. Let this be an open situation so that she is straddled with the responsibility of being the boss, whether she wants it or not. Everybody just, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We understand you're not the boss. Yes, ma'am.
All right, we'll try it. We'll see how it goes. I'll report back.
Okay, all right.
But I thank you as always for taking the time, and I look forward to speaking to you again. Hopefully, we'll be able to find a time that won't take as many weeks this time. But
may the force be with you.
Thank you. Take care, Dhammarato. Bye.
Bye-bye.